Firearm suppressors have been regulated for a very, very long time, but there's a concern that restricting those puts people at risk.
House of Representatives-elect Mike Koslow is proposing a bill to stop prosecution for people who own or sell gun suppressors in Missouri. Koslow says hunters would benefit from this, preventing them from constantly hearing the loud noises of the gunshots. Despite them often being called silencers, Koslow says it wouldn't actually make a shot silent.
What a suppressor does is slightly reduces the volume. It brings a gunshot down from about 150 to 160 decibels down to 120 or 130. On paper, it doesn't seem that much, but it can be significant to your ears.
Another part of this bill, stamping Made in Missouri on the gun accessory.
We do have federal gun laws that regulate interstate commerce. Anything that crosses state lines does fall under the jurisdiction of the federal government. But here in Missouri, when we just have when it's made in Missouri, when it's sold in Missouri, and when it's only used in Missouri, never leaves the state, it is regulated by the state of Missouri.
As the vice president of public safety with the Urban League, James Clark says he can see the benefits to hunters, but he's also raising concerns.
Having a silencer in the rural community is different than having one in the urban core.
Clark says allowing gun suppressors could make it harder for law enforcement to do its job.
If there are shots fired, citizens need to be aware. And this will make it just that much more of a high-risk proposition in the urban core.
He's also concerned it would leave some crimes unreported.
ShotSpotter here in the St. Louis metropolitan area is doing an outstanding job in helping law enforcement officers zero in on where shots are coming from.
When it comes to suppressors, ShotSpotter could still pick it up, but it does make it harder. Koslow says he's open to hearing from law enforcement on this.
This has a long way to go. We're going to have a lot of input. This is just the beginning of the bill.
The new session starts on January 8th, 2025. In St. Louis, Shoshana Stahl, First Alert 4.